another episode of Man, We Are Almost 40. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dee.
And I'm Roberta Bernice.
Yes. So, guys, happy Friday. It's Friday.
Friday.
Yes, it's the weekend, baby. Roberta, how's your week been?
I had a nice week. I was very productive. I got a lot of stuff done, and I am excited about stepping into my entrepreneurial world. What about
Okay.
you? How was your week?
My week has been a little rough. I'm not gonna lie. Like I haven't been sleeping so well. My insomnia, child.
Kicking your butt.
It's been on my lot. It's been beating me in the corner. I ain't been able to give any kind of. I ain't even scratching back. I didn't even windmill. No, it's been rough on me. Like sleep wise, it's kind of been very rough. I want to say, I finally got my sleeping pills. Thank the Lord. And for the first time in like a month, I was able to sleep through the night for real and wake up not feeling drained. I woke up with a lot of energy. So I kind of been moving around. So it's been cool. Like, other than me not getting any sleep, I've been cool overall. But it was a little rough on my mental with the no sleep situation.
Yeah.
Attitude been off the chain.
Uh-oh.
Off the chain. Jesus, it's been people have been irritating me like a lot quicker, right? So, but now I feel better. Like today, I felt like myself.
Yeah, you got some rest.
Yeah,
All right.
got my Starbucks.
Uh-oh. Her in Starbucks, y'all.
Listen, love it.
Well, I remember a time where I wasn't getting a lot of sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like way back when. You know, that one time I had got that gun put out on me and I couldn't sleep for like a week.
What? You just gonna throw
Not
that out
the
there?
first time, the second time.
Oh.
Yeah. Do tell.
She said not the first time, but the second time. So guns are just being pulled out on her all willy-nilly. I'm a little afraid for you, girl.
Yeah.
What?
We go through life, we have a lot of stories to tell. A lot of us experience trauma that we don't always talk about. So I kind of want to dive into a little bit of that today.
Yeah, so let's get into them two guns being pulled on your behind. When was it? Who done it? What happened?
So the first time, it happened 3 times, right? The third time. The third time.
Jesus, if she say it happened 4 times, it's gonna be I'm done. Put a fork in me, I'm done.
Okay, so I've been told, it's funny because people have been reaching out to me on Facebook since the podcast started, and they tell me I'm mean. I used to be mean. Not true. I was not mean.
Y'all remember the first episode? I was like, she was giving mean vibes. It's not just me, sis.
Okay, so no, I was not mean. People just did not take me serious. And I had to speak a certain type of way because of it. And it came off as mean. But the first time, and I want to talk about this because I want to just share some advice in the end. So the very first time I had a firearm pulled on me, I was 16. And I had gotten into an altercation with a guy. And we were going back and forth, and he was saying all this stuff to me. Now, when I was younger, I used to take, boxing classes. So, here I am 16 thinking, if I get into it with anybody, I could beat the world. So, so we get into an argument and he's going back and forth and he says that, he's going to go and get his sister. So me being cocky, I said, okay. And my stupid butt waited for him to leave and come back. I was by myself. I wasn't with anybody. I was by myself. So I waited for him to come out. I'm like playing on my phone. Like I had the little...
How long was he gone?
Y'all know the little flip phone? I was on my little flip phone, and I'm just waiting for him. I'm thinking it's just going to be him and his sister. No.
So you was finna whoop the man and his sister.
I was going to get down on both of them.
All right.
Yes. I had a lock, I had pepper spray, and I had a knife.
Oh.
Right? So, yeah.
Life was life.
Life was life. And so I just knew, I'm like, okay, we'll wait for him to come back. I'm just going to knock him out. Him and his sister, whatever. He comes back with this big beast looking woman. Okay. I was sitting,
Norbert
remember
is
I
Rasputin.
was, she want that bitch. I was 16, right? So at the time, I'm, if you see me, okay, so I'm 5'4", and I weigh about 150 pounds now. When I was 16, I weighed about 102 pounds, and I believe I was the same height. So I was tiny. So this big girl comes up to me, and she's all like, oh, then talking and cursing me out, saying all the bad words you could think of. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So, I put my phone down, I put my little book bag down, I'm, getting ready to go. We go in the middle of the streets. All of a sudden, there's a crowd. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's about to get real. Out of nowhere, I see a gun in his waistband. Everybody screaming like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, why is everybody screaming? Because I didn't notice it until they start screaming. So as they're screaming, I'm like, oh my goodness. So I see the gun. As he's pulling it out, I'm thinking to myself, like, little me? Like, oh, is he serious?
You and the sister was fighting?
We were about to fight in the street.
But before y'all could fight,
Before we could fight, he lifts up his shirt and shows me his waistband. And I'm like, I heard the crowd, right? They're like, oh, because they're thinking it's about to be a fight. But then, you know how people were screaming like, oh, if you bad, woo, woo, woo. But then all of a sudden, the scream sounded different. And I saw like 2 or 3 people like bagging up. I promise, like it happened all in slow motion. And I'm like, oh my God. I took off. I took off. I was like, no, no, no. They were chasing me. And I'm like, I can't do this. I ain't gonna pay. They chased me. I thought I was gone.
Jesus. And what happened?
I got away.
How did you get away, bro?
I ran. I never turned around. I didn't look back. I never heard any gunshot. Excuse me. I never heard any gunshots or anything after that. And so I just thought like, okay, whatever. Never seen the sister again after that. But I saw him probably like 3 or 4 months later. And he thought it was funny. He's laughing. Man, I wasn't going to do nothing to you. I wasn't going to do nothing to you. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. Like,
right.
What are you doing? I was so terrified. I wasn't afraid of like fighting him or anything like that. And the reason we got into it was because, and this was a thing, apparently, he touched me inappropriately. And I told him not to do that. I'm like, please don't touch me like that. To this day, he say, man, I ain't touch you. I ain't touch you. Yeah, he touched me. And I think that as a young woman,
it triggered you.
Yes. Not only did it trigger me, but it put fear in me. Because I was involved in a situation and I'm like, oh my God, is this situation going to happen again? So I immediately clammed up like, N-word.
Right.
I'm finna tear you up. I was offended. I was upset. I was hurt. He did end up apologizing years later. But, yeah. So I asked him, I was like, well, if you weren't going to shoot me, why did you pull the gun out? He was like, man, I was just, everybody was crowded around us. I thought it was just something to do. Oh. And I said, if the crowd would have threatened you or told you were scared, because stuff happens like that. Right. And, man, you scared, you ain't going to do nothing, do it then. And then now the trigger pull and somebody dead and,
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
You know what you just said that it made me think about like back in the day when you were little and you were about to fight someone and someone's like, whoever's the baddest hit my hand. Yes, right? The first person hit the person's hand and then they hit the person.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, they just hit you. And then you're fighting. But the whole time this person never hit you.
And it had nothing to do with the situation.
At all.
Y'all didn't even want to fight.
But you had to prove a point. So I get that whole like, what was the point of you pulling out that gun? He probably really didn't know. He just did it. He probably really did just do it. That's funny.
And he was like, I ain't gonna lie, I was young and dumb, man.
Fair.
And he ended up going to jail for murder.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. So, he's out now, but like, we talk about it, we laugh about it, but that's just some of the trauma that I experienced when I was younger. Now, that's on a lighter note. I got a gun put out on me again on a more serious note. And,
Well, you said that was 3 occurrences, so I feel like
yeah. So it's funny because this was the same thing. This dude touched me inappropriately. And I was bothered by it. And I'm like, am I the do I look like the person to touch inappropriate? Like, what is this? So he touched me and I'm like, whoa, what? Hey, I'm like, don't do that. Like, I told you before not to do that. I don't like when people do that. Don't do that to me. He was like, he immediately snapped. He was like, I can't even say all the stuff he said. But he told me to go and get somebody for him. Basically, like, you a little girl, you know, man, go get somebody. And I'm like, what? Thinking to myself, I ain't gotta get nobody. I can fight you right here. So I wanted to fight him. And he didn't want to fight me. He probably would have broke my neck, y'all. But long story short, he ended up walking around a corner with this girl who I grew up with. And they walked up to me. He pulled the gun out, put it right here, and I thought he was gonna shoot me. And he was talking, you know, he was, you know, saying all this stuff, you know, and I just hear somebody in the background like, "Don't do it, please, don't do it." I wasn't scared because it had kind of happened already. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, this is kind of a part of life. Like, this is what happens.
that's so crazy.
And for me, it wasn't serious enough for him to do that. But for him, he had another agenda. It wasn't about pulling the gun on me. It was about doing something else. And I don't know if he think in his mind he accomplished that or not. Or, you know, whatever the case was. But the situation happened. I did call the police this time. I did pursue charges and everything like that. But it didn't go anywhere because I did not go to court. And I didn't go to court because my younger brother, ended up hanging with him probably like 3 months later. I don't think he knew what happened. So it was hilarious. But yeah, so.
You know what? I ain't gonna say act like a gun has never been pulled on me.
I know, cause sis.
A gun has definitely been pulled on me, but it's only been like one time. You've given like 3 times, but like, yeah, it was like one time, and it really wasn't even about me. Like, yours were like directly related to you type ordeals, whereas like for me, my best friend at the time. So my best friend at the time, and my sister cousin, my cousin that's like a sister to me,
cousin.
We all went out. I was like 16. We all went to this house party. Mm-hmm. It was like in L Town. We didn't really normally go over there, but we were being fast. Uh-oh. You know, there was a boy I was looking for, and actually my sister cousin is actually married to the guy that we went over there for her.
Wow.
And they have kids now. But yeah. So we went over there, and it was like a basement party. It was a good time. And there's this guy, it's always like this one thirsty guy that's going around in the party, right? So he's like going to everybody like, "Hey, little mama, what's up?" Right? Yeah. So he comes to me like, "Oh, I think you cute. Hey, little mama, what's up?" I'm like, "No, I'm cool. You know, I crack my jokes." I get out that gym, right? He goes to my cousin, says the same thing to her. Maybe like 5 minutes later, she, like, "I'm cool," moved around, and then he gets to my friend. This chick did too much. Like, when he gets to her, she wasn't like, "Oh, I'm cool." She like, "Get your little dirty, bummy, ugly, goofy A out my face." Da da da. She got down on him. So of course his little ego came into play, right? Because she got down on him in front of everybody, right? So I don't know how we ended up just leaving, but we got out of it. We left out the party and went outside. So now we outside. I'm sitting on top of a car. My cousin's standing in front of me, and my friend is standing in front of me. Did the dude come back like, "What you were saying?" Yeah. So she get to like getting down on him some more or whatever. And so my cousin, she's older than me by like 5 years. So if I was 16, she was 21. So she's like, like trying to get him to move around, but he wasn't trying to move around because Brittany, that's the girl name. She like was getting into it. Like, she was doubling down on it. Yeah. So like, she gives me this look, my cousin, and she like, "Get down from this car." Cause we like about to whoop this man. So she like, "Get down." I got down, and I'm like, "All right, we finna have to whoop on them." Yeah. So the guy, her husband came out and moved him around or whatever, but he was still upset. But so he's still talking all this stuff. So she calls my older brother. So she like, all right, my cousin. Now she upset. So she calls my older brother. He comes. He escalated the situation, honestly. He comes, he like, get to talking stuff, but he's holding his cell phone. He steps out the car.
Yeah.
Like with just one leg out the car, the other part of his body inside the car. He holding the cell phone behind him as if he has a gun. So they like, whoa, so you bring your gun, da 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 da. So he speeds off. They speeds off chasing behind this man in the car. So he speeds off, leave his girlfriend, leave my nephew that was in the car with him.
Oh my goodness.
So he had to come back around to get them. So once he got out that gym of them chasing him, he comes back around and he act like he has a gun. So he with the same phone, he do his arm like this. So they like, he got a gun, fraud. Girl, everybody ran, us included, because like, what is happening? We ran, so it got quiet. Then so my cousin like, we need to leave. I'm like, facts. We need to get out of this jam. So we leave and we come from the back of the house because that's where we were hiding. We get to walking down the street finna leave. Some little dude, he was like maybe my age or younger. He get to running behind us like, I'm finna shoot these bees in their back. I'm finna shoot y'all. Turn around.
Wow.
Like, y'all better turn around right now. So my cousin, like, again, I'm following her lead. I'm not even scared for myself. I'm scared for my brother. Like, what happened to him?
Yeah.
Right? What happened? Because I don't really know what had happened. Like, he wasn't answering the phone. So we turn around. Because she like, he ain't going to shoot us in our back. We going to have to shoot us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just there. I feel numb.
Oh, I know that.
I just felt numb. I just was like,
well,
right? Because like there was nothing we could do. Like they had gun pointed dead at us, right? But then what saved us, because I believe he would have shot us.
Yeah,
was the police. Someone must have called the police. So those police sirens was like, wee, and then so somebody behind was like, go, bro, just leave. So he just took off. Yeah. And like maybe 3 minutes later, our ride came, girl. But it was a situation.
Yeah.
That was like bananas.
Wow.
And the fact that you said that it felt so, like the second time it happened to you, it felt normal is beyond me. Like, what? It felt normal. Like, this is a normal thing. And you and I kind of experienced different, like, lifestyles for the most part. But a lot of similarities, but we both had a gun pulled on us. And it was like, oh. Right? That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's I think it was definitely life-changing. Crazy to say the least, but life-changing. The first time it happened, I feel like I was just like a little kid, and I didn't know any better, so I just wanted to get out the situation. But the second time it happened, like everything in me was like, okay, that's it, and it's just gonna be it. Like I had no sense of my future because I had accepted that this is probably going to be the end. And it affected me more than I thought it did. Because as I got older, a situation with this person happened again that landed him in jail. I don't even know if he's still in jail to this day. I don't care. But it landed him in jail, and I wish that I would have went through with the charges. Because I don't think that he would have initiated that situation. And to this day, like, it eats at me. Like, I feel guilty. Like, why didn't I just go forward with it? Why didn't I, if I would have done this situation wouldn't have happened. Maybe this, I don't know. I wish I would have went about it differently. When that happened to you, did it affect you? Like, did it affect your future, your mindset, the way you think? Like, did it affect anything?
Well, I don't know if it like affected my mindset about things. It was more or less like I felt like my brother escalated the situation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of was like, you gotta chill. You gotta chill. And also I became more aware of my surroundings. Like, okay, if things look like it's finna get fishy, we need to go, right? And we was kind of in that situation because our ride had left. She was on her own little fast girl stuff too, right? So so she felt really badly about it. She like, I should have never left y'all. I'm sorry. We like, girl, that was just crazy. But honestly, I hadn't thought about it, and again, until I like talk about it in situations like this. Like, it was a bummer, right? It was like, oh, but I wasn't afraid. I was more afraid for my brother than I was for myself. But like, I just was like, okay, I don't want to put myself in that kind of situation again, and just became more hyper vigilant in my spaces. But it didn't affect how I saw my life. I'm just like, this is not the kind of crowd I want to be around. I guess if anything, like, I do not want to hang around y'all. Y'all is giving ghetto to the level 10. I'm good for like a level 5.
Yeah.
So it was more like, okay, let me just chill out in that way. But it didn't affect me in how I saw my future, because I knew that wasn't my future. Like, so would you say that it affect how you saw yourself and how you saw your future, like those instances?
Yeah. When that specific time happened, it did something to me. It turned me into the worst person, because from that point going forward, I felt like ain't nobody gonna do me before I do them. And I'm like, if I feel any type of way, or if I feel like any inkling of something happening, or if I feel that something is about to happen or something is about to take place, I'm going to initiate whatever consequences there is to come from that. And I think it messed me up a little bit too. And I recall having a long conversation with my brother after the situation. Um, And I realized that people will do things to set you up. And you have to be careful in those situations, because it could lead to someone's death. So for example, like I know people that, like, females that get into it with guys, and the female is the aggressor. But they'll go and tell their brother, cousin, uncle, oh man, this dude did this to me. He called me out my name. He hit me. And then the guy will go over there and kill him.
Yeah.
But it's based on a lie. None of what she said was true.
I feel that. That's like always been a something that I was afraid of. Yeah. Like, that always scared me. Like, to see that, because I agree with you that women are the ones that kind of escalate or make it into a thing and put their family members sometimes into a situation because we call them. Like, I understood why my cousin called my brother, but I wish he hadn't.
Right.
And I'm like, Joe, like, and I guess it did change me when I think about it. I'm like, I never want to call my brothers unless it's a situation. Yeah. I never want to put myself in a situation that could put them in a situation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I always was very conscientious about that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that. Mm-hmm. I can't be the cause of one of my siblings dying because I was out here bumping my gums, doing the most when I could have just chilled out. So I think about that. So yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. And now I'm in a space where if a situation happens, I'll try my best to get out of the situation. But if I can't get out of the situation, I will inform my brother of the situation, but I will try my best to handle it on my own. Like, I don't know the end result if a situation arises. Of course, I want the end result for me to be the victor. I want to still be standing in the end.
Right.
Some situations, it's hard to de-escalate, and it leads to things. And I know that I can protect and defend myself, but I never want to get there. And I know that there's times where I can't lean on family members and call them and say, hey, this is a situation, this is what's going on. But why would I want to put their lives in jeopardy or put someone else's lives in jeopardy because of a misunderstanding?
Yeah.
I think that we should, be mature in ways where we can say, you know what, enough is enough. We already, we killing each other so easy nowadays, And I'm like, it's too much. It's too much trauma. Like, we already going through enough. Some of us out here, robbing, stealing, killing because we don't got it.
Yeah.
So why just make another reason to hurt and kill somebody?
Ooh, it's so many places you can kind of go with that.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, but when I think about trauma or the trauma that has affected me, like mine is a little different. I could definitely understand why, that moment, those moments kind of changed how you looked at it, especially because you were saying like it made you the worst person. So, and you became more like the aggressor.
Yeah.
Right? Like what I guess I would ask before I get into it is, how'd you get out of it? Like what made you stop? Because I'm guessing you did, yes?
I did. I stopped moving the way that I was moving because I realized I'm not really built the way that I've made myself be. I don't want to hurt people.
Okay, because you're just the sweetest person,
Yeah.
Roberta. You're just all love.
I'm only this way because I don't want to be hurt first. And so if it means me or you, then it's you. And I'm going to do it with a smile on my face so that you can be confused about my capabilities.
So it was like your way of taking control.
Yes. Taking control and not being a victim. I don't want to be a victim. When that happened to me, the second time with the gun being pulled out on me, I was so overwhelmed with hatred that I wanted to do something. It took me a very long time to get out of that space. So much so that if you remember, I said that there was a girl that walked over with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was like you hadn't seen her since.
No, I seen her. That was the first time.
Okay.
So in this situation, there was a girl that came over and I never forgave her. Yeah, to this day. And she knows who she is. She came to my brother's funeral. She spoke to me or something. I didn't speak back and she kind of spazzed out a little bit. And I was like ready to end her life. I was hurt. My brother was, had died. And I don't even think she remembers that she did it. I don't even think like her mindset is there. I bet if she hears this though, she'll remember. And I think that she will understand the pain and the hurt that I was feeling when I seen her because I loved her like my sister. And so when she walked up with that nigga, or when she walked up with that man, and he did that, and she was standing by his side, it broke me. And like it took me a long time to like get out of a space of hurting her because I know my older sister loved her too. That was her sister. That's her sister today. And I just I never sat right with her after that.
Even to today?
Today, I feel as though, I think she was young. I don't think she understood the magnitude of what happened. If she did understand, I don't think she understands the effect it had on me. Because I got into a lot of other stuff because of that situation that could have ended me. And I had it been me, I would have made sure things were done differently. I would have covered and protected her. I would have made sure that food didn't go over there and do what he did, knowing that this girl is somebody I grew up with or is a part of my life in some way, shape, or form. I would do everything I could to protect her.
Okay. So I hear you saying like maybe she didn't understand and that she was a child.
I don't know.
Right. But I can see that you have the capacity to be able to understand another perspective.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like, how does that play? Like, if you know those things, why can't you forgive her or move past it today?
It's because it's hard. It's hard because it's hard because of what was attached to the whole situation. It wasn't just me. It involved my brother as well. And if you know me, if you know Roberta, you know Roberta is a diehard fan of her brothers. And so the thought of knowing that something could have happened to my brother because of a simple miscommunication or a mishap, and I would have been the cause of it, like that, like just takes me to a place that I can't, like sometimes I feel like I can't forgive myself if something would have happened to my brother.
So yeah, that's a lot to unpack there, Berta girl.
Yeah.
I definitely understand though.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Definitely a bummer. What about you though? How did it affect you?
Well, I guess again, the situation didn't affect me in a way of it changed how I looked at life, but like trauma in general, I would say that the biggest trauma that I've had to kind of overcome and that shaped who I am today was being in foster care. Right? So I was in foster care from the age of 3 years old until I aged out at 24.
Wow.
Right? So, overcoming that adversity was like a big thing. Overcoming, like, I guess the feeling of being abandoned.
Yeah.
Not being enough. Right? That kind of was always there. But like being able to say, hey, yeah, I went through that, but it doesn't define me.
Yeah.
Right? Is a big thing for me. Like, I appreciate going through foster care. Like, if I had to go back and do it again, I wouldn't change it.
Really?
I wouldn't change like what happened. Everything that happened to me shaped who I am today. It made me a stronger person.
Wow.
It made me want more out of life. Like, I was talking to my brother recently about kind of growing up, and he's like, would you have changed it? And I'm like, no. You know, he said he would go back and he would like live with our mom. And don't get me wrong, my mom was kind of always there. Even though I was in foster care, she was always there. There was a point in time where we were going to be returned home. We were having weekend visits. She's always been there in some kind of shape, form, and, you know, or fashion. Like, she used to come in. She used to come in the middle of the night. Like, I was staying with this one foster lady. Her name was Miss Smith. And my mom would come in at like 10 o'clock at night, knocking on the door, trying to see me. So as a child, I'm like, girl, let me see my mama. Of course, I cut up on that lady, cut up something real decent. But when I look back at it, I'm like, that was so wrong. Why would you bring your behind to someone home at 10 o'clock at night trying to see your child?
She said her baby there.
Right? But like, so she was always there. She always she did the best that she could. And I understand that now as an adult. But like back then, it was hard. Right? I get that whole, you know, it made you mean. Yeah. Like, foster care made me mean for a second there. Yeah. Like, cause I didn't want to be a victim either. I was tired of people having control over my life that did not know me. Yes. That was like the wildest thing ever. Like, you guys can go to court off of foul or off of what my foster parents say that I did or didn't do. And you can say whether or not you can put me in the group home because of that. Wow. But no one talked to me. No one asked, you know, what was going on, what happened, what didn't happen. But again, when I look back at it, it made me mean, but it made me strong. Like, I needed to be that person in order to get to the next level, right? I needed to like guard myself so that I can push through. I remember when things would get really bad. Like, I'm so grateful for Miss Smith because she taught me so much. She taught Miss Smith. She was my foster mom that I lived with her from age like 10 till I was 13. Okay. It's like my longest foster parent outside of my aunt.
3 years? Yeah. Was your longest? Wow.
Don't judge me. Yeah, it was like my longest foster parent, but she taught me like my core values, right? One of the things she said to me was going to college was my way out. Ooh. Right? She's like, school is your way out. Having an education is the way you take control over your life. And I wanted so desperately to have control over my life because I just felt like everyone had control but me. Wow. So when she said that, I like tunnel vision. Gotta be great. Wow. Gotta go to school. And there were times I would run away from foster homes, but honey, I was still going to school. Like I would run away to my mom. They will always come back and get me, Joe.
Miss Lane.
There you go. You know, but when I look at it now, I'm so grateful that they came back and got me. Like, when my brothers would run away, they would be gone. They just would let them people live. Really? They wouldn't go in to get them boys. But the moment I was out of sight, they was sending people, police and whatnot, after your girl. Hurtful. At the time, it was hurtful. But I'm grateful. Like, my mom used to be like, girl, Cause I just be like, okay, yeah, can you still take me to school? Can we figure out a ride? You got bus fare? Cause I can get on this bus to get to there.
I ain't missing school.
Like, no. And if I would run away, I would think about like the things that I had going on. Like, do I got a test today at school? Will it affect this? I once lived with my aunt, and it was like a crap show. But I was finna run away. I was like 13. I was about to run away, but I had like the Constitution test. I said, I really had to debate, and I took my behind to school because I'm like, nah, because if you fail like it's 8th grade, and it was like a repeat. And I'm like, I'm okay. No, so I went to school, but like overcoming those things at the time felt so hard. It was hard for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of times, like, you're in these homes and you can tell very much so that they don't want you there.
Yeah.
That you're only there for the money, right? It would be like the craziest things people would say, like, oh, nobody want you. You would go to what's that called? A group home. Like, if you think telling on me is gonna do something, it's not gonna do nothing but get you moved.
Wow.
You're gonna be moved, and it's only gonna affect you because when you get moved, you're gonna go to a group home. No one wants teenagers. But I had this caseworker. His name was Troy. He kind of looked like that one little creepy dude. You know, he don't look creepy, but he put me in a favor of the dude from Charlie's Angels. The one dude that like would snatch the hair and sniff it. She always fails me, guys. But anyways, but yeah, like he was from the time he met me. I met him when I was like 9. He was like, you would never, ever go into a group home. As long as I'm your caseworker, you would never. And I didn't. And I'm pretty sure there were times I deserved it. Yeah. But I never went into a group home. They always figured something out for me. Yeah. Right. I'm grateful for that. But like, yeah, they would try to like scare me not to say nothing. Like people in there trying to beat you, abuse you and different things. And, don't say nothing. Or if you say something, this is going to happen to you. And I was in that thing snitching. Y'all got me bent. I'll move. Right, I'll leave. It's not a problem at all. But then after a while, like when I would say something, they weren't trying to move me. So that's when I started running away.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like, I'm gone.
You don't have to move me, but I will be moved.
But I was like growing up in that space of in survival mode, or like in having everything that I own packed in garbage bags, ready to leave. Yeah. Being on guard. Oh, you can leave at any moment. Being threatened to get kicked out. I'm like, okay. So I have to mentally prepare to be kicked out. And I was talking to you about like having abandonment issues about that. Yeah. Like right now as an adult, it affects me in a way of I don't think people are going to leave me. I think that I'm going to leave people. Like I'm so guarded with myself that I'm like, oh, you're trying to do something to harm me or do something to do this. I'm done with you. I'm done with this. I'm gone. So at times I fear that I don't know how to stick it out with people.
It's similar in a way, your trauma and my trauma, because you said you're in this space of like, you're afraid you're going to leave. Yeah. And so you kind of stiff arming people. But with me, I was afraid that people would hurt me. And so I would stiff arm them because I didn't want them to have a chance to do that again. There's only so many times you can be hurt. Yeah. So I wonder now how that affects you as far as your relationships, personal, business, friends, like, relationships.
Well, I was guarded for a long time, and I want to say like maybe 2019, I started feeling like my circumstance, like my life, like everything that had happened to me was dictating how I was moving. And I ain't like that. Yeah. Because I was very reactionary. And I'm like, why? I don't want that to be what I'm doing. Like, I don't want to be a person that is still talking about how some hurt me from when I'm 60 years old. And I'm like, oh, this hurt me back in this day, right? Or this happened, or I went to foster care and I can't trust people because I went through foster care. Like, no, everyone isn't untrustworthy, right? Like, people deserve trust until they have broken it. Yeah. Right. Like, but at the time I'm looking at the way of like, you have to earn my trust. Right. But it's like, hey, I trust you to be who you are or be this version of yourself until you tell me that you're not. right? And in that space, I want to then inquire about what happened or what's going on before I then just push you out my mind. But before, I'd be like, oh, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Now, though I could still be done with a person, I do have a conversation with people, right? It affects me, it affected me with being so easily willing to walk away. And though I am still easily willing to walk away, there's some things I have like a pattern, like a process before I do that. I'm able to express myself more. Before I couldn't express myself. I didn't feel like I couldn't be vulnerable, because being vulnerable was being weak. Right? That's what I was taught. That's how it felt. But as I got older and decided, hey, no, I want to choose what affects me, whether I'm happy or sad or what makes me mad or not. That's my choice. And I felt like, I guess that was another way of me trying to gain control. Right? Because I felt out of control when I was reactionary to people, like they didn't have control of me. Yeah. Right? But when I was like, no, I want to control my behavior. I want my life to be what I want it to look like. I don't want it to be based on what I went through. Yeah. Because that's too heavy. It was like I was carrying, it was like a chip on my shoulder. It was too heavy for me.
You know what? I applaud you for developing some sense of maturity in that space, because right now today I still just if I've tried with a person and I decided that I'm done because I've given like my last breath to figure this out, I just walk away. I don't have a conversation. The conversation was me trying over the years. That was the conversation. And if you didn't get it then that's on you. And it's one thing that people say about me that's constant is that I'm not, very non-judgmental. I don't judge people. Like, you messed up, okay, I mess up too. Nobody's exempt from doing something or making a mistake or being wrong or doing the wrong thing. And so what I do is I walk stuff out with people till I can't walk anymore. But I don't have that comfort. It's like what do you call it when you finishing a project or you're leaving a job, an exit interview? I don't do that.
I'm very much exit interview. Like, I would exit interview anybody, Jesus, a family member, a relationship situation. I would give you the reason why I'm done with you, because I want it to be final. But I guess now, so me now versus me then. Yeah. Me then was final. Right? Yeah. Me now isn't final. I'm final with this version of you. Right? Until you can get it together, then but say if, for example, you and I fell out and I'm like, I'm done with Roberta for right now. But I'm not done with you forever, unless you've done something where you try to like, or you try to kill a real player. That's right. Whoa, that's like, well, I'm like, But but if you like did some stuff that I felt like that was disrespectful, but if you could if I can reconnect with you and I ran into you 5 years from now and you're like, hey, and you're showing me to you that you're a different person, then I'm like, okay, I can rock with this version. Then I'd be willing to give you another chance, because we're not the same people forever. I'm forever evolving. I'm not the same girl I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Like, I'm pretty sure people don't have the best things to say about me then. And I felt very confident about, in the space, but there were moments I was wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so now I'm like, okay, I don't like this version of you. I'm not messing with you. But if you have the capacity to grow up, because we all do, if you change your mind about something, you start moving differently, then I can let it go.
You're very mature, because if I'm done, I'm done. You can be 5,000 years old and I walk in, bump into you and I'm just like, no. And maybe that's something that I need to work on. Maybe that's, I give people the boot. Maybe that's something that I can actively work on. Not because I feel it's wrong, but because I think you brought up a valid point. People do change. Yeah. People do mature. And I think that people deserve another chance. Now, what space are you in, and when are you willing to give that person a chance? I think that should be your choice.
Agreed.
But I think that that's something that I do need to work on, because I can cold turkey and it can be forever. And I don't feel a way about it. And I believe it's because before I cold turkey you, I gave everything. I tried. I didn't judge you when you messed up. I didn't judge you when you hurt me. None of that. I forgave you. I walked it out with you. And now it's 4 years later and I can't anymore. I'm drained. I don't have any more left for you.
See, I think like you build up to a point. I don't get you. I don't build up.
You just.
So I'm like, hey, if something happens, hey, that was a little weird for me. Can we like not because of this, X, Y, and Z. Okay. Right. And then if you're like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do, whatever to you. Then I'm like, say less. Then, okay, I'm done with this version of you.
Okay.
Right. Like, cause I can't with you. I don't want to take it. I don't want it to escalate and become something more. I just know I will not tolerate that. Like, I won't let you do it again and again and again and again and again. And I'm walking like, you just say you sorry. You need to chill out. Because if you tell me to chill out, I'm chilling out. Right. And if I can, then I'm going to move around. But if I say chill out and you don't chill out, well, that means you don't respect what I'm saying. My feelings don't matter and you disregarded them. And that means you're going to do it again. So I'm like, I don't like that. I don't want you to disregard me again. Like, because, let's not.
Yeah.
Not to cut the conversation short, but it's about that time. And go ahead, drop in the comment section. Let us know different ways in which you guys have, your trauma has shaped who you are. And the different stories. Have a gun ever been pulled out on you? Are we the only two? Is this just females? A Chicago thing, Jesus? Right? And we are females, like, so let us know. So, hope you guys like, comment, subscribe. We will see you guys for the next episode.
See you in the next one.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.